mountain biking, Idaho Shakespeare Festival, hunting, overlanding, and surfing. Those are just a few of the things that Boise has to offer in terms of activities. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to living in Boise, Idaho, and the surrounding areas, then subscribe below and tap the notification so you can be the first to learn about the current market here in Boise, Idaho. My name's Craig Flood, and the Living in Idaho team gets calls and texts and emails all the time from people just like you looking to make their move to Boise, Idaho. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or drop us an email. We're happy to help you make that smooth move to Idaho. So, you're thinking about moving to Boise, Idaho, and you're wondering what there is to do here. As we dive into this topic, I'll walk you through the list of things to do and some tips and tricks on how to get into them. Then I'll wrap the video up at the end with a story about surfing in the dark with some new friends. Let's start out with hiking and camping. There are a ton of trails in and around the Boise area. As you can tell from this map view that we're looking at right here, there is just so much open land north of Idaho and especially to the east, so the northeast section as well. One of my favorite camping and hiking spots is just north of Garden Valley. In the Boise National Forest, you get to camp right along the middle fork of the Payette River. It's beautiful, it's serene. There are paid options, there are free options. If you are gonna go camp there on the weekends, you wanna make sure to get there early so that you can snag a spot if you haven't reserved one. The fishing's really good, there are hot springs, and it's just an overall great experience. From Boise to the campsite is roughly 1.5 hours. So we're gonna talk about biking, and we're gonna start with mountain biking. Ridge to Rivers maintains roughly 190 miles of trails that is open to mountain biking. So there are plenty of options in terms of mountain biking in your backyard. Two things I'll add to that. If you are more of the kind of downhill person and you don't want to do the big hike up, you can go to Bogus Basin, ride the chairlift up, and you could ride up there. Additionally, too, there are two great apps to use if you're thinking about getting into this. The first app that I've really enjoyed is Trail Forks, and another one, maybe you're already into this one or maybe you would like it better, would be All Trails. Additionally, there is a professional mountain biker who lives in the Boise area named Kyle. He has a YouTube channel titled Kyle and April Ride Mountain Bikes, and I would encourage you to go check that out if you're curious to learn more about mountain biking in the Boise, Idaho area. In addition to mountain biking, I always see tons of road cycling. So I always often see groups and packs of people going out on Old Hill Road and cutting up into the foothills on roads. So if you're into road cycling, there's also a lot of good options for you here as well. Next, there's your bike packing or adventure biking crew. Do a mix of the road biking, but they have larger tires, they put pannier bags on, more designed to go on and off-road. Or if that's something that you're into, there's that here for you as well. I just had a friend who finished up a 2-day trip just north of Boise. Him and a buddy went out, camped, spent the night, and just had a beautiful ride along a river and a gravel road. So if that's something that you like doing, you can absolutely do that here as well. The final one is biking as a biking option, and I just thought I'd throw this in. I did just talk to a gentleman here in Boise who likes to unicycle on the trail. So I mentioned 3, but there's really a 4th if you're into unicycling, so that's an option as well. Backcountry flying. There's so many places that you can fly into the backcountry in Idaho. There are remote landing strips, places to go hang out for the day on a lake and get breakfast. If you're into that kind of stuff, you can absolutely do that here in Boise, Idaho. And I would recommend a good YouTube channel, Trent Palmer. I've really enjoyed watching his stuff and seeing that side of Idaho through the eyes of a backcountry pilot. Fishing. There is tons of fishing, so you can go fishing in the local ponds that could be right in your backyard or in your neighborhood.
That was my guess.
Good job.
You can go to lakes, you can go up to the reservoir, you could go on a hike to an alpine lake. In addition to that, you can fish moving water, so rivers. We have the Boise River cutting through town. If you head east, you can do the North Fork or the South Fork of the Boise. And if you head west, you can do the Owyhee on the Oregon side. And then as you keep driving in any direction, you're just gonna keep hitting great spots to fish. Hunting. Idaho has over 500 species, and many of them are hunted. So whether you like to hunt with your rifle, a bow, or a shotgun, you can do that here in Boise, Idaho. Surfing and kayaking. Just west of downtown Boise is the Boise Whitewater Park. This is a great spot to go surfing and or kayaking. In addition, right next to that is Esther Simplot Park. And at Esther, you can go kayaking, paddleboarding, swimming. You can do fishing off the dock. You can do fishing for bass. There's tons of options there as well. With all that being said too, if you're looking to surf the wave or do stand-up paddleboarding or anything like that, there are 2 shops directly next to those areas. The first one is gonna be Corridor Surf Shop, and the second one is gonna be Idaho River Sports. You can go to either of those places, give them a call ahead of time, see what they have that you can rent so that you can use those areas. And if you're thinking instead of renting, I'd like to buy, you can either buy new, you can buy stand-up paddleboards at Costco, or if you wanna buy used, you can go to Play It Again Sports, which is a great place to go get anything for your kids or any kind of used equipment that you're wanting to save money on. And after a long day of having fun, there are plenty of places to go eat right around that area that are within walking distance on the green belt that kind of connects everything. Idaho has swimming, so if you're in Boise, Idaho, you can go swim at the local community pools, which are super nice. You could swim at indoor YMCAs, you could go swim at the reservoir, Lucky Peak, or you could just jump into the river. Though the river is really cold, on a hot enough day, it is also really refreshing. Overlanding, if that's something you're into, if you got a rig that is just kitted out and you want to get out into the wilderness, this is an amazing spot to do it. There are great trails between Boise all the way up to McCall, also off to the northeast section. You could reach out to some local 4x4 shops in town to get more familiarized with what we have to offer here. And another good option would be the All Trails app to kind of show you existing trails and photos of what people have done in the past. Rafting and kayaking. So in addition to the Boise Wave, which almost half the time is designed for kayakers as opposed to surfers, you can also go float the river on a raft or kayak, but a big thing is the Payette River. People come from all around to go whitewater rafting on the Payette River. So if that's something you're into, that's in your backyard. And I just wanted to pause for 1 second. If you're enjoying this and you want to see more stuff like it, be sure to hit that subscribe button at the bottom and the bell so that you can get notified when I put out new films. Boating, so wakeboarding, ski-doos, anything like that, you can do really close to town up at Lucky Peak Reservoir. Lucky Peak is just 15 minutes east of Boise up in the foothills and easily accessible from town. It's a canyon lake over 10 miles long, so even if it's busy, there's plenty of room to go find some smooth water. At the reservoir, there are year-round opportunities. The lake at its deepest is 200 feet, and when you go to drop your boat, you will see there is a very long boat launch to get down to it. Skiing, snowboarding, snowshoeing, and Nordic skiing. First, we'll talk about the closest ski mountain to Boise. That's gonna be Bogus Basin. Bogus Basin is just north of Boise, about 39 minutes outside of town. The thing that I really like about Bogus, as opposed to some other mountains I was used to when I lived in the Seattle and Portland area, was how inexpensive it is. I think I bought my pass this year at the early bird prices right when it came out, and I paid $200 roughly for a midweek season's pass. But up there you can go skiing, snowboarding, snowshoeing, and Nordic skiing. If you're looking for better skiing than what that has to offer, then all you have to do is just head north. The next resort is gonna be Tamarack Resort. That's gonna be about 2 hours and 15 minutes north of Boise, just south of McCall. And then a little bit further than that is gonna be Brundage. That's gonna be north of McCall, and that's about 2.5 hours from Boise. You go ski at either of those 2 places, and it's just really nice to stay at McCall for the weekend. Also, something you can use to find trails, say for Nordic skiing or snowshoeing, would be the All Trails mobile app. Breweries. There are a ton of breweries in Boise. So if that's something you like, if you like a good beer, good burger, then you can do that here. Here are 4 breweries to get you started. White Dog Brewing, Payette Brewing, Boise Brewing, and Lost Grove Brewing. Wineries. There are a lot of wineries to visit if you come to Boise, Idaho. A good spot to go and get a sampling of this would be District 44 in Garden City, just west of Boise. And here are 5 wineries to get you started. We have Cinder Winery, Split Rail Winery, Coiled Wines. One of my favorite is Potter Wines. They have a really unique jalapeno wine. It was something that me and my wife got a sample when we did one of the farmers markets over there, but they have some really interesting flavors. And then the last one would be Talaya Wine Company. That'll be a really fun one to visit. They have a beautiful location. They're right up against the river, so it goes the Talaya Wine Company building, and then they have this great outdoor seating area, and then it goes to green belt, so the bike path, and then it goes to the river. They're literally butted up against the Riverside Hotel. So if you're thinking about coming out here, spending some time, seeing the city and seeing if it's right for you, that might be a great place for you to call home base. It's really centrally located. The parking is not a bear. It's not immediately downtown. It's just west of downtown. They have a heated pool, and again, they're right on the green belt. So it is a perfect location if you want that to be your home base and for it to be really centralized. And the final thing on my list is going to be the Idaho Shakespeare Festival. This is something me and my wife love going to. Depending on the play, you could just have a beautiful night of laughs, tears, all that stuff. It's outdoor, they have food. It's just a very lovely place to go. Here's a little story to wrap things up. When you get out into Boise and you start experiencing it and you go mountain biking or you go fishing or whatever it is that you like to do, you're gonna make friends in those circles. One example of that would be when I did the surfing. For me, what that looked like was I made some great friends while I was surfing on the Boise Wave, essentially because as you're waiting to surf, you're standing in line and you start to talk to all the people next to you. I met a gentleman named Dan who is a phenomenal surfer on that wave. If you ever go surf, I'm sure you'll run into him. And I ended up hanging out with him one morning. He invited me to come surf an early morning sunrise session. It was just a really fun experience that I would not have done had I not gotten out and meeting some of these people. And again, I'm always pleasantly surprised by the demeanor and welcoming nature that people have as you get out and do these things. They just feel very happy to share them with you and have you enjoy them as well. So that's my story. I went surfing at sunrise. And that wraps it up. There you have it. There are some things for you to do in Boise, Idaho. So if you're thinking about moving here and you were wondering, what would I do if I did move there? What are the activities like? Hopefully that gives you a good starting point to what the possibilities are. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. If you want help in your move to Boise, feel free to call me, text me, or email me days, nights, or weekends. I would love to chat and help you in your smooth transition to Idaho. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button if you want to see more of this stuff, and hit the bell to get notified when I post new content. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Are there activities that you know about that I missed? Is there another activity or something you want me to dive deeper into and make a film on because you're curious about it? Please, please, please let me know and leave a comment down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.